bitalnged President tra Senate Chairman rabor tra FIC bekal rabor tra FIC ngartial el altutaun marbekal senators el kataw meeting el kirel ato ko era amendment el mortial Palau Corporation Law el milgat mok logi wa 11-10 el mlamu beringin mura officer AG I mean mo beringin mura officer FIC makadawri ada tay kita la mal makatakatang yang aringi say kita amendment tel dong mok beringin lam mapto ka meeting el tangaringi yang aringi recent tel babier sel last tel meeting el mnay el masaw taray kay kita ko amendment tel senate ta kiltmok maul makadong tel meeting hamel di address ay kay kita el concern ara adra FIC girentiang malaway se ebok introduce ang mam senators ngartiang atangakal president tra senate el president Paules maatangakal vice president tra senate el Garay Mariul maatangakal floor leader Cecilil Eldabel el direct vice chairman el committee ya direct ngaringi atangakal el senator Sangbao maatangakal senator Cuartey maatangakal senator Inabo maatangakal senator Tabulwal ya nga kadire kulun makatongora o maatangakal senator Rutim senator Rutim akada makatongor tiyang ma president sa senate mulamer adra house lobangked mlangaringi tengamin mo ran adra house lo lingi tertil mulmay matatak malkora may inclusive tel meeting mulsip adult makarokul nga osisiul al teletire meeting al kilal tel amendment ya sabi edal mo omes ringi to agree to disagree ay kay kitel terstangal al nga al tel amendment malaway siya atiliket neis swalablay na plurabilio ang artiang lobangket lom teera speaker man atra house mang sayigit chairman report ra FIC awla lakmul Moscow mo takang introducer kami rokoy al mlugok mula sa pamilmer elang edi so akal mo recognize mula sa atangakal al former delegate ablulang at pang obang kami wati rekan mal makatatang al politician lo makatekat lo mlara house of delegates I'm pretty sure and direct al honor morning direct direct al sa el nga seor kami wul ray kay kitel kuk to ko ra la al dorul ma atara la kami kumsulang awlaw le ko raw
Ali musulang ya chere di ka kuntel te ale urang asuli rogul simil direk me tolor mam bagda al do el mut smodi tel mal mo blagtak kun magwaria aya malway se gi de chere dik kuntel te ale introduce mam al adra board ma angrak lisi nga gidrel al kaya adra la arkamam other feature ya next ringir el aga Hermana Idip nga board director at direct FIC yang kala law komu raklit at tu nga niya ridep o kada ti itong ridep mga niya nga direct board director mat Chance Douglas el direct board director engel got nga nga senge other office manager mamal tigay sabal ngarinya tulbay kan sir kamam agidle warner kamam merel adri kam lomre ka term ngima lak aluida nomination kamam al angara imo mi lo sig sel sabelle lut el mera board agidre kal malusperi dire kal amoria imorangak kal gimol lol dar sring ile gol dire kal may magi malas mo rung el board magman sulang
Kamsulang yaku awlaw lal tingul masang teera house al atangakal senator delegat Trabalilio na iswala blay tibol ko tuklamele o kareto mo
sulang Chairman Basilius ra invitation ra ulmlera speaker mo House of Delegate edi nga rigigil meeting ra mam aldung Umomesel lang ang dimle nga kaltang amay. Itinabol sa barir tamay. Kamama direkl ta umodang lilbil kamama kiltmakli en pasra house mer kamiu. El logi wa gigid el kukki mulu mara sing moso el mukatmok le ungil marael. Tiagid el marmang kami akuk mo mesengi. Kukla ay gigid el mo mesengi ang moso el ungil marael lagi after all kadamru raikal NGO ra profit manan profit ma aigal siobay mang alorula uror belao ngungil aureli kukta kawalment uktilol toertira aigal bekel ngarangtel kadangal tangat ng la open recovery tiagi damal timing magidi malingat akartiang maldobang kami kumis ay gigid lurol mamgatmok tiang akukmong emer kamam ya kamitia kumomes ngira siradel temel kut makli mo man saule kamil adra FIC mlamay man saule Senate President biga kamak akmlelom era House of Delegates sulang
Sulang delegate President ra Senate ma Republican Senators ma Vice Chairman na committee Senator Aldabel el direct floor leader kama me in lieu of time katapata paite malmal moray kay kitil el amendment el kita aswad al masaud el kirel say el tengamil mlena December 3 el address ay el issues mal sabe de bay dito po the one by one ray kay kitil line items ray kay kitil issues et katmo et ekipo mo ay sek mo raw reason ray kay kitil amendment ya kamama al direct al senator sa ngaringa karmam cellphone mereka al senator sal open ko kira others tal karira al kirela kay kital amendment anti ungil chairman
Hindi, mal diungin. Tolomol.
so misel the borsel al amendment sel house bill 11 mistake 11-128 13 SHD1 saya kita kung tasar ada ola baka pirtir say etil al el kapi sel mlo raula makti informal wase kata sel do mes ringin te kay ST1 let tel aulere te timlakan so we missed to overlook ringin tingkirel mo ringa ST1 ringin so misel tabor sel do mes sel papilingel na chairman ra FIC mlaying yang address ay kikitil issues al ngia amil katakra babier al basically ang mle way al lolol tek mula sengra ay kel amendment that took place ra artial Senate draft masay kitil bill opora a page 2 ngi. Well, anyway, say kita section 107 chairman problem address ngi ra subsection 107A. Say kita language kimli liang basically i provide ra away additional language to ensure a responsible mora customers ra adra FIC. Say kita section 107 nati masawad ra temel and other file. So sell the file within 7 days, sell kam respond within 7 days, and kita nga nga tengamin. Lo ay sik mo nga ko ra say ako ra kiplem trial al capture ni. Mung say kit yaw ul magi lililya sel language. Adbor sel subsection 109 say kit ya masawad ra powers of authority ra registrar. Di sel over sel 109A ya gingil beti say of course 109A at 11-24 ang ilbeti say gital A hindi kami asomi sel C sa kumle raise issue sel C sel C di adim sa tayo fees being collected al mura Ministry of Finance al mo basically special fund al opo mo spell maintain ra operation tial online registrar. So basically a language ang nga multimlege gray, agiting libuti sa language sial, elilaliamay. Our reason say, yaul magililaliamay, while provider seldaliame ang wayal ko provider aliway el sebeed el guk mangat mok la tele laudog sel omlia sial ang wayal mal determined el segid hindi sel may wayal provider sel ar other ministry of finance sebeed sel tu sial ay kyo siger sel ko ra sebeed lo spe ngi de kanam tarak ralla nang tiamo special fund del ngar al sela Ministry of Finance el basically ng allocated el kaltmok el provider ngilo kor kami urabe kara hindi sel tu sel shall be authorized le kor kami wing pay delia sel may ang la kora akut maklia liwera at Ministry of Finance el kora sa paril lo meser ngiling el sukumungkuk mo tiakal mong sa funder kami yung makarangin sa edel ko. I mean, legality purpose ay dililiyami. Okay. Sel opera sel algo next line item sir kami el masada subsection 2163. Sel 2163 ang aringi set ko credit unions. Basically say gital item ang aringi O-line item 1 and more 5. Hindi say gital 5C, say gital 5. Agitingil buti ako registrar corporation sila say ay miscellaneous informations. Siya nga page 41 na al-adalabil. Magiti ang ito ko era annual reporting. Masal po report ta adem basically wal maging ilbitise ag yung lumtasok mula sa terkadi na kamura 8C. LL sum to submit a report at morgel te kor kamiu le say ya direct mlewan a question al bray raise ringia senator al debe ra kim ngara ulaw no al mulo asenta nga authority oh halebok mereka oh okay halebay bok mereka tiali kalam te latu dito sa the reason why the change. Sergidal section sa basically about ter segid. Yakuk tungol mara section 2271 to page 54 talalabin. Ang segidal al mandatory reserve to protect the interest of tribal members. We're talking about dividend. Talking about filing. Tokoy sel annual filing. And this say yaway algiba authority to be established by requirement and registrar a presidenta asa real muru legal regulations and mutul mo ame sabuk sararat. Awal magiding ilbetira registrar may ingil beti regulations sila regulations sa kita tial mururi. Hindi ay kal tial kita filing but still hindi ka mamatay subject to audit. May as a local filer audit the filing, of course, ang nga discrepancies, malub ang nga niya. Ay kang kalufol mo na reporting, muntil luwaya HC, malub ang lomes ay kal filing, sa nga discrepancies, at tiramot mo, mutul sila, pero okay. Ask more information. SL 2274A, at irregular line item SL 1 to 5, kami ang aringi sa higit 5 ringi. SL 5C, oh, comment. SL number 5, mangkitira kaldingil pati au registrar yung ito ka annual reporting, hindi mo ra, kiumdasok mo di mo ra ichi. SL 2274C, sa higit language, abay cloud language, sa bedan mo sa ringi. Yang nga kakuk admit luwase aging pati for probably good reasons hindi since agi klilutul mo ame setya nga I'm willing to move to reinstate sa higit hindi sa higit reinstate ringiya adi agim kangera higit klisi ela ay kal mo alsu kumatingar 18 diungil hindi Wayal Telcom Valley maluming open ay galpok sertir for any corporation at any time sa elangin til other mulmong omes segok amlamo telkib malangalakra authority meng paiti to ere malol tirak sa igid klisi ela HL reporting sa labang ang nga discrepancies sa barin mo asking at 2280, Cell Division Association, Cell A. Katira kal kitim ngil bati Cell Klisi Elaw Registral, lagi ulam tasak mo kami ati aradale ko ngati ako file. Masay kidal 22 say kidal nga association section nga ngin Cell 2280 82 ngay mentira kal di milngop tak Klisi Elaw Registral. So basically, ay galdol sa no sel di maklol amendment tati sel to koy raw do al mawdudir mangkay kit klisi ela a HL kimngel betim hindi sa ikit ya president tato me sa ka basically di ay galdo sa tati sel entra ka ayir ya kumbali sel bol file yung mo file engel cook review ikangal which OMS SPL mutal ask more information. Hindi sa ikit klisi il mutal mo so yung sa malaya. Open na buk sa raad il mutal lomes il investigation na kuk waya to koro hatal kibul bikik ringi. Hindi tira-tira kalolngit mulu asay. Tiya ikit il amendment nga na chapter 20, tiya ikit il doru ringir ilang. Basically, selva bilingir al 19, chapter 19, mat chapter 20. Ati akal sorry tolingit mula sa may malaka amendment talmoringi mal sa el maray latial dongot mo kringil na al mora house mal sa el maray al maray al mora president. So lang president.
Mom sate lela senator laktio ke lo sa ikal mo sa lang kum last month elaka trial di bring up to review.
Yes, I can mil south ay ikal do south makater ki mo south.
Mukom la agree.
Aki relate more selva bilingil mail el kumulwa sente akal sorry ra any changes let tabigi mutya way al bola kal sabi el maut al process el mora house maun makil
Diyo kin le ko ram sa da way of lam agree me la ko next phase.
I hope
Gam lal mutul take over review maun just a matter of time membo be specific mo igil cancer.
El ay gigit el chair sulang el president ta senate me ay gigit el gimul sa de el chairman kaw ma adrabor tuk mula se ay ging sabi el ngar niya bot agree ngi mal sabi el marail.
Hindi, arong ka sa vice chairman kaya kasol ka mong raw era buko do abay sokal bay mala concern sa kami era buko do mala ka
Oil in such a leeway of time in awul mak mention ay kal lol tirak kal selva bilngem may we want to find out kung ngararay yati akam agreement sa bedel discuss.
Hindi ka tiyagi do sa TL la vice chair local address sa concern magsalong do dik address di el di tabasul
Abang nga vice.
Sila chairman militas itse ako vice chair na mo chairman acting chairman Anyway, ngili tasi sa kami komsulan lasab ilmem kada ka ukora kaswes mesaikal malmadamame kurawal namo dia ka maltemela senate tial 11 senate o mesaikam and dingo giom dasot na sigalen ngani ati alel wera ko global merektiang it's edel ko mesaikal sa edel maral meloral ya egel ko koradi ngani gansun basically chairman ng tial amendment sira sirak chairman ra BIFM emlani sel me ko talwa bingil lel lulungit na semme the amender cell al 11-10 ma 11-24 bolsa bedel المساجل قوقلين والقام لت غني جل مل إكرا رقمي ممضي على سبيل الفولي إمبلمنت سيجد والريفورم الكوربريت ريجستري أكته من قد قال المساجل كده مواجب نام anticipate ترى كورا ديم simple amendment and this سيجد التوب ترى amendment ترى house سير التبريد تيجد الامendment LME mo mesring malkora substantive amendments leng ara 60 some pages and then gimno notice ring na a big chunk of it say gidel wal al provision cell wal create cell SL division 3 almo sub el gaber igel baby type associations igel business associations arwa igel corporation sol ma ay gali maraklel credit unions ma ay gali to kora partnership mang sige dra alamay gay kita ko am not talgibel concern leng mal kora extensive ay gel provisions nga alsel elgi mamdas baby ngal asap edaldi ogiwa language ala ekadrulil mandate kami as a registrar aldi remove regulation almo sabel al promulgate ang masap ilaw spe al base ay regulation register ay el corporations mong sige da ko ramle wana cancel lam lani ay gel pensioner baby senators ay gel while existing organizations wa credit unions may gal magikarel NGOs ra selbelaw abodol tirak kada dalitya mulla alimbol bodol tirak karniya yigid albekkel migrel alaf galel sal mal mo with the tir mal ubol maring tira keep up with our requirements leng wana gi omesengil diregal amo wa require tir almo hire kora professional adal mo helper tir put together their corporate malubeng igel paperwork ma documentation organizations tir ito kada matingek na siyang gigit betul migrant organization sa limited capacity til al meet igel reporting requirement ma sige mo misagi the specifics requirement igel kakarus associations igel mes technical level create ra ka mo level al maring tira au register ay gigil kora nan profit organization sa tirma ay gel guk pebir ndik tiregal masama value sa gigil alguk mosabil capture ay gel information ay gel kora sel ay gigil kora ecclesiastic type of organizations yung tiregal sabir mo niya kora scheme laws pe ay gigil kadak takuk ka maangod al activity di kalsalmal related al may purpose sige da igi ko ra wagim compromise ra dong lamot masing ngara sabe edal mes mamral mo sabe el guk otiriklisel guk ngangil plan kamil al mo launcher sale online registry lam developer ngilo mongela ADB ra January o sisilta magidiri ko dimle somam meter kami momdengek masing ngara aigel lakatakat moklo en mosab el tomalia starus ra igegi dalega ani selva bilingil nek na siya aigal lakata mga igal amendment igal organization baby igal organization sa alusa sel legal starus ringi mamring kami ay gigidam le so mamal al dokora makadingit na sing ngaraigel areas al sabied al kongay kora compromise kongay mang sen mamral tial al arangalet yang ngaraigel guk sabied al guk maurul domes al amen drawul madang lisel guk tokora ruafis se gim gangering na sing ngatyam di latial ngalisel guk amendment la proposal niya kamitil ulwal kora malub ter segi del wal kora role oversight malibang regulatory authority almo wal ko tumi selum minyo kaning wal kora mo mate or segi del authority mang especially kay del appropriate soul ma egal partnership ma egal ra tora credit union selbol bay segi de kada ngora de kal clear ngati agi del amendment kamitil ngwal dil ngum sa presidente dingil mo mre ani naseng mo fol rangaral le agency mo handle segi may dire kal soma mga dosul gilger se finally sel guk letra ka aklol concern ka mama tiagi del guk incorporation or ayel tokora partnership type of business al direct al wabol under mandate tiagi del PSL corporate registry ay direct al guk commerce ngil galel direct al guk koramo create another layer of bureaucracy ra guk tokora business especially direct guk adal one or two terum or tedel adal guk dimot mage so real form a partnership type of business at tire ma-require mo register mo druigel requirement tra FIC ngaramon me ang pwede mo na tax office mga license rig de form sell business partnership agreement si the file ngi office tax mo kong operate a business ay gigida ko ra dimle concern giblem raise last session ng ma'am which I think mlele mo o agimna differ action ng ma'am martial al bill mleso ma'am meet kami tiagi de agora hopefully mo sabi ko mas kida respond gire lagi gire ani am black mi se che
Kamasulang Senator Inabo.
Sulang chairman and this wakal edra questioner nga kama di bol sa ML mang tagita kuradi tara concern alwa setial division 3 ngatial la amal detail mal to ka requirement sergi el bato ka magikarel wa igel aldaberar maasama aruba karabaluma ay hidal blal aldunga etiala malimis el detail amang ayo me serngil waseng baigura namo way ablol rule gay del entities el mo especially local entities el mo dekal usual participate ra ay economy gidel kadam la rule tiala mal masisi el regulate ay kal mal megerel deka belgul shobay ma abay gariga wase al sugum tel division 3 le tial la sel ngaringi sel ngara a page 2 ra line 27 al mura page 3 ra line 3 Segi da otabati selwa say FIC di morulia regulations algire like I the other businesses. Nding ilang wada remover sa the klisi mronge creator tagi the division 3. Ma adigri ga korawa say tel division 3 mal require der ilang al ubeng sabil di rule regulations malakal bolo tirak ralla le mo tirak ralla eng mali tarogul adama arogul entity sa alsel bela mo dia ka choice ra kamura ako kasi nta ako malgigray mabere et ako malgira dalo meseringi to meseringi mak akti oira sa ko di klol concerner nga mak ako darsi mal sa portal ko ra sa sayidam sulang.
Bang Senator Corte.
Sila chair delegate sola blay na intention na house el convert sel regulation el molla e also na intention ringing komirungi mong mamaringa na agid el ra FIC change ringi on a regular basis mangilin met more olbil el met change ring
I'm sorry, Senator, agimral mirungil wa siya lulumtas wa simulbol selbak laikal rogui balangar nga titele la aurore elorael. Sige di agim la intention na kamam malug ngilor la alsil. Hindi nagim do asing momring artir. Yo asing mo selbak laikal rogui NGO manan NGO may gagil so is Brazil el selbak la ul elorael. Hindi tiamal kuktimlew da swam. La tayo guk mlamay umbuk masang kita after all kado sige sel maungil moral bek other ko sulam.
Datira kum daseng global gula the cider sayiti leng akti das sila sa credit union that sangar olle sorry will change and now we have to go through tiaro gil 3 readings get detail amendment na motelal builing maybe ang to reconsider the regular process. The salwa say al implement the registry. Ang intention all birakalula mulu legal status ra ay gigid el entity kung sel adim na intention ra house. Makti gukti gradul so los galelungil the best the BIFM FIC balngani aliwer tir respond to time on their own rather than tel mek olvira lulaw to amend the segutil de solul pero tel ko niya senator inawo sulang
Senator Udim.
Sulang chairman ritasin se delegate ra lilo cha di concern chairman kaya kamda almost 1 year amendment 11-10 kadir ka message from lengit yang chairman mong hindi at sila putra blame mo mura ka titalaw rin ko mo waisay. Di tiyang amne intention niya kung dasyon dire kung niya traw dasyon mura corporate exemptions. Nung tumle red flag niya FIC. Maktere kalgol orangite vice chairman wa FIC mo min adrabor da say. Tiyang das pela somehow nga niya agreement to buy time. Ito sa oklagi at Christmas around the corner. Marada under pressure da kalukong das hindi kal fail marada rabluwa the rush aurel why say the by time the let egale existing entities move forward malakang penalizer tier ito already identified apay more concern chairman ma olvira kalulawa saying if I say gidan mo blakatak lang mas nga warning against international financial institutions this will pose a risk on mora the US malibang banking system and we know that akong das na abay gilin mo blakataklas and by let's come trial give us a option masabi extend that limit talaga give us some breathing room malibang give breathing time and let's fix it to comply to the international regulations and malakang put Palau at risk ra blacklist malibang at multiple attempts and circumvent a financial code a United States. Sige da quick niya by chairman mo. I think kumamdang ni sending because of the confidentiality issues. Actually, calling to sa kumob lang ataklo sa sumong mo niya pressure politics against the FIC rules. Ang adre kagilin mo part policy kumil expose again for transparency's sake. Dakam under pressure la kagimo lang ang gira kung dasang for a better policy makatmok lang gira expose ay garo At the end, kita merura la. Nangaringi silwan ra Senate Bill 11-43, and try to create exempt corporations as chairman. And siya convent tral ulbelaw, dakal klisi uringi, di wait till digital residency. Ma, di siya kita di ontigra sa chairman at sa PL, ma house la sa kami udong FIC, find the common ground as well extended yang malakad adol adakal nga ikleda. Kami adila sa dakal intention ro kami. So let's find a way to buy some time and move it 10 more 12 OEK and get the proper committee marogoy ma set of eyes. Idrun mo legit. Ito move forward alak daway sila ade. So that chairman.
Akma ulaw ngun sa atangkal Senator Vice President Mario.
Sula chairman naktira kale kita un muda mitu ko tialla adire kal mlani ato ko elmer olbira rulal was tia selbo morior stat register corporations ay gaigi del NCO sa may gaigi del micro credit union na amo dia kal nga system makora di igere legol was sel corporate registry milgot moklegong mli other sa ngral corporations el ay kang ako ngral corporations tiang ul mo kadami ito ang ako komes ngil was ay gal agirel ko ti lokal Mandi ako dong itu ngi mal suko mong sella ako dimlakal bas kami ati eli malubet ti ay gal la dimlakal address ta al sel Gidel Corporate Registry Act and then ako nasula sa agi sebel dir ka malmol girel malmol bangela AG sa gidel process ako mdas dimlaka bodong itu tigre kam ko na direkal mesay gidel direkal adul kay ng sel gidel direkal so adal lado du edga school sa tiang edo sa igal mo diakal ati elil kuk mo o register lolmul magagi del megrel adam kami sal wasi ko da tialo mingitu ka kumbral wasi ko do mes wasi ka ku lokal megrel to ko mdia ko label mora ela kami wasi ko mo register mo ringel gel ku amo kipaigal electronic ra dia ko dinga lasing ngarbela ngar outside ending ay gigi dai gel direkal dia ko o dinga wasi ko mo girel geringi elal ko ra bato kay gale tigata hak tangarang klele ay kakali direkal bol ko yung pol temal la kuk alube bol wesay gay gidale recorder ba corporation sa mga ram ko di ngulmor say gide direkal kay ngesewleng kita maraniya un mo dami tu ko tiang ade kal soda gay gidal megrel la bol la ka teler la mo do bol mededor marsugo may gal la adim la ka la sel corporate registry act adim la kal lotob dai gang en girel dir malmol mga ongel officer AG makwa di duli segi de direkal boss pe dong mangere kami do sa seguro mo maral dulger sulang
Vice President ra Senate el atya gidel la we all know kung la sa kadila kay mga tmoker ngi el mle purpose ngi amo way at define regulatory guideline raikal kombali to register etyal la atyal dong tmoker ngi el atya yaw regulation ra algim ngi lura HC office transcripted al mulla man basically tiyo sisiul al guideline na lulus po pa HC mga tmok legal registrar hindi kay gidal amendment to kami so mi way kay gidal terstang ang tingin lalo to man basically ngora kaya pakak legal amendment hindi ko tayo mal kora obreo the implications of the sound hindi ulmutyaw ulmakatikim lamurungin way say gidi ultirak kalsel البابير الملك مرا سيجايجد الكوربري ايجايجد الانتيتي الملوي ترسيجد لا ال11 داستن هذا لو توندينك ملوا سي has to be incorporated الموت مورا 11 داستن as a law ارتايجد للسبميتري president
Ako sa misstatement hindi mo lakal mo oid hindi mo lakal intention na 11 dasten mo address hindi ka corporation. Misstatement amdok masang miloy telekomda sige dia kan le policy paper ram le sendering may lurunya ADV adimit sa da corporation for profit ma profit kasi tiagi da agilin mother nice ringi al mo reflecta dim la katal bolo sa da partnership ma dim la katal sa da maun mala as a result 11 10 am sa da corporation dim lakal intention ringin mo ka vera gigi mo akum ta swing masigi dro ko nga vice president ko sa mel at time ngel exist ya HC ora la gigi di kami ako ora la corporation Siya, understanding nga among way ka, yes, agree, madang legal amendment, kasi ba nga lo tumulbolo banggel. Hindi lang ang pass rin at time currently, ang malmal status quo, way sige.
Say, yung way say, Senator Sangbaw, hindi according al moray ka loriol gimulbok le olong meeting, ay gimle agree kung tayo ya solution al badora o kiungay, al trial keep per sel status quo ray galwang bali. Mung sel, opo mames sel, blel center niya tigay le kong, ang definitely nga niya, at tigay sa PL mo, o ay sak mo say kidil loriol, ang nga section siringin mo address ay kay kidil aldosa. Intindi ako po por sel, kadaman makamang tatay, mati, say kid yaun, magim lamurur tiyang sel, tiyal, proposal niya has to be incorporated al mula in some time. Hindi akal sa PL, di nga raw regulation. Mal masulang.
Chairman, abig question, gila dal nga maybe siya the swela house. Abig question na kasi, igang sa dalo kuy lo label mo FIC, if I answer say yes, and then about the word lang, di so kung ma-answer nga saying no, ang sarus ko ang aurior.
Hala amlam katmo kung say
Dan dir ngal matmok lala, tila amendment tan mo la igang al mo yung FIC. Awul ma kagi dele Senator Rudy maulin ito kasi hindi lecture mo 12 emlug tromes ngile asung mga alta mo register ang niya process on register hindi ulo kadam lo bagi cartel issue bring up nga Vice President aba bilingin dilo kasi mo lu sa legal status based on what sing lawyer kami ali si mo dogera lawyer kasi how did you come up with an assessment that if you don't pass this that those credit unions will lose their legal status? That's a question for you. If you wrote the letter.
Pero isa mati answer ngi, imbay pero kami answer ngi, lindak po ka answer ngi.
Kahale. Dakol so dal kora continue discuss habla de discuss mang paido gelo che ngaras veder uleg de maintain rat status quo raigel bebil emrgo etiagi del moru ringi lang then we move forward mal sumang mring dem ngaras be ruling sib postpone rang manek sa lolbi ra kalula edlut mal mongil lela commission ngin we back to square one al debate taigel na model gired al debate di ela kadam la back to square one kami mo ay slosi kadam karae kum suspendra ngrang mang kadamo murungi ra at 12 olbil aluwe ko pa lateral ula ADB mang alak daruling matarap shoot something like that. Give us an answer to that.
Mamsulang Presidente, mal aigal concerns sa kamiu, aiga mal yo susil concerns sa kamam, aul magi label mer madamiu. Kasi medray dong okor go dray nga se do meta ul so de ko se da magram mok lagi dire gal milsa se gi del 11 das 10 di mal dim lom sadra corporations dim nakal bolorut agel bibir entity magam maluk sergi morura regulation agi di mirura regulation ul tuira 11 das 10 segi del boldo way segi hindi ngaway ak mo sa interpretation or tella ang warang hindi gidiri kan lo message mo sa bibir entity sila other legal corporation el mlaro through 11-24 el luluy de tel registry obistre echil mer kama magegi makarang agay mo include tendim la kawilom sodel madim la kal blakatakla magiging ulmagi milu sila kami intention na kama madaka authority kama stopa ngidil shobay magiging ulmagi milu sila kolo ay sa concern sir kama ay kamentek mo sa gagi del bibir entity ada kalbol disestablished lenda authority kama mo mring tira mo re-register lenda gi mo dek mo sa agi register tira ang aral la mangaral structure little 11-10 amal dim sadra corporations
Masulang matang gerawa say
mang ahal komeng chair mela ko mga tilagi do okay kamam ko sa will do korang what's the way to move forward why say chair mela kita mla bob to do meeting mla conference meeting review chairman or chairmanship or kama kaya chairmanship ra BIFM ra okra house. Ekadam ng okra sila earlier this year at January mamuta February, we generally agreed elk mo sa tiagi da atleta a Division 3 a status quo until such time ekadam mga tmok ko sa ekadam mga move forward the addresser ti. Maselo Division 3 law southern niya Senator Inabo segi bil erel and direct mal comprehensive. Direct damle agree kama mamle compromise sa marala regulation kamil both house amo mga tmokal mo address sa gidil Division 3 sa makarabo tegang morangral logi wangrang yung kadmo si either way register tir ay kanta haliklutan make it very clear kama madagim stop ang idil kumbali dabo mo mosadra legal status ring yes sababil nga kalilko nga ukmlengod omengiwele apologize this dimlakal intent kamam Mang diswa I'll make it very clear. To move forward, agi malolngitek mo se sel, agi kamam agi gilinge chair, ragi last meeting agi mo se agi gonger sel house version. Giving ra status quo ra Division 3. Egi da mertiang mo through regi del tam kada adu mo se magrado ngot mok el molsis vertir logi wala segi de lagi mol tuiring senate president mo se move forward len dekal ngrang kada mom sa tel registry no matter what the launch date at January 20 ligira ADB len in tele trigal mrur tel registry Ada kangod el time el giril sa email mo sir kamam len el dealing another 2-3 years is el merbela mo launching. I just want to say ul magiril channel that's the only window we have to launch this. Magde sa di the launch ra agidle corporate register January 20 egid say the senator egid daw real ko sa makara mga tnok kay gigid bibira entities el dimlakal الادريس التاجيد ال 11 داستين بسولا
So regulation el mobara imamir el ang le pass a regulation ra 11 dasten.
why say
So over January nga regulation ra 11 dasten el basically in silent ra gagi del baby ra entity.
why say
Mga problem Sisay? Komnis, halek so din mo tumong. Jak member kami tindim naman namli marwala mal matata. A regulation of lakat makli. Ultirak ra 11 das 10. Hindi ka conflict ringil mo implement ra registry. Yung amle eswas kamle mo tabi legal opinion ra last week. Girela sa starus regil pebira entity makarang remain silent at tamnak mulo hindi mlakal intentional la elmo di regulate tayo malube de bolo lorak la yung asabe del di remain at tayo kita mo ngito kay kal adi akaral matumal
kapong po mareke oy pang senator din
So lang chairman Asilius chairman ra FIC. Sel letter kami wa amde trigger tiagi del meeting makora what slighter panic ra existence ra gal al selong tigula say let's buy time. Adingo wa assurance ra kami kasi ga malamol mo. E kami malamol man mura already. Then kada bagi class kung may gal banggang a red flag because kami do na mo dagim recognize ay So to compromise within your powers within dula say kami FIC banks we give recognize again in the ongoing process or tirakala. You have to make them comply. Akum da sa sige dal abay biot role ng since ng 11 10 it's in within your purview PCU and dire kam regulate tingin so is mo touch again. At the end that yang monetary follow ra daw de mong di make ensure tikal FIC bank so don't worry kang arngi ya kam help monitor let them flow ya ko kita by time and for the most better mutul mo lang oklarulin mo. Sige da kullo ko ngi buying time. Sulang Vice Chairman.
Chairman, ako naman sa ulit yung House Bill gimgut makli ulumdas way gigil kurate tele laurior. Hindi ba igigil ko ka kasing igagil blalol ko ar adra Senate. Yang ngarigil proposal amendment lulul top da committee makadam la armeng se omes idri kam la armeng sagel concern tigal tukol adra Senate el girel auror kamam adra house sa kulum das sa singgel kut maklil mo ngil level field ar bekla adam berta adamanitor ma tetele auror endi atama wa adol gedang mang gor artikel mo kasing gador gadi makarang ditiang ala kadakat maklir el ang luwagel blaldu adara Senate endi kangaral matamalle kadamo auror ngira tialmaral mil el government di agelu to som adra house agigil gimul mes ediri kam larmeng sa audasura adra Senate agigil kuk lomdas ko madikal wa gimul di lomdas mag dingul mo segide presidente ngawlal sa chairman ng will decide.
Dia kang medi eungil sel omongot otu alway say kita ko ramal na makatak karokoy medi to pada palkatak luwa siapa piling yun nay alulu sernya a direktor kamiu alulu sernya atrala kamiu malulu sernya a direktor kamiu ma atrala kamiu ma chairman board kamiu alne mal palkatak luwa say ala ka implement tetyang ay kalkompali amolo sa staru sirti. Mang say kital assurance sa rasente ka tokol matamal na alagim kat maklit yalla. Ay giredan malmo plakatak karngir elangal pulasay. Maralway say maluban tiyak la kama material lomdas ay kalkompali la elam ayen rair tiram a report. Say awul makatatry lo re tiang.
Chair, sulang ramal lungil. Dakal, I think kadi mo concern ma'am Sergi del 10-11. I mean, 11-10. Le mo dakas amal re-register tir. Under 11-10. Again, status quo. Yes, hindi elat lagi dire lak mo sa mga lemlabong tel registry imala HG. Halik TikTok plakatak. Mlabong ubter imala HG. Malaber ka mo let's say in June next year, I'll register the mortgage.
Kamsulang chairman hindi me
Ay kita lang hablel bring up pa senator ulbe lam trikal be aklak mo si mga haul ko sa didri astari school no matter what. Come at the time ra ADB mtegi the opportunity come launch our register January 20. Magi malmol malmoy segid ikigida mulmutal adadu mga tmok mo si megal bibir entities di mlakal ngal al sela 11-10 kada makara oryo remol sisvertir el giver segid el legal structure mo mo sa edalot sisvering and at the meantime in status quo
isel omtula sa at the meantime in status quo ay kel kompaling mo makarang
ang malamol maluay sagid hindi sila expire permit tire ko kita ko makara
til ay kit ya til ay at you oy kika lektire kal mlew register at tara kompali makmatang la timeline til ay kit ya dire kal July 31 at ko reporting they have to report sa July ya enter a year before at July ang mo rin overview ito ko tire kal at timeline na niya maguger niya ilang di akal ngarang kata kita un makadam sa hotat tiyang omta so ay kalkom bali tidal full stop malumin sa rin mo to resistor so sa ikital authority mortang kami wa kuklil siya papiling yung milk mula sa tamoti bang kemoti akastaru sirtir logi way kel papiling yung mea ul makdoger malsukum til ay kital status quo sa pamilu usimil nga rapapiron may mula sa tiakal polo sa staru sirtir E polo ay sem asin mem lagi morulay kang etuluk tam saudring. Hindi kita urol mertiang kami tuluasay. Hindi akan sebel mo ay say.
Chair, halik kami na akalula makmo confused. Tiala 11-10 adim lakal mention ay gayeng register ger elang.
Mlew register 18
Hindi lakal ala adim lakal ngabatil mo dekal register a AG.
La angil betin mo tiakal ngar imal 18 11-24. Ay 11-24 angil betin al mo tiakal ngar imal 18 ang ulmustrirar atra FIC.
Sing way say?
A registrar ay 11-24. Ma adol mol merel alway segiding ngayon. By this make it very clear. Status ul mga sa kada makara move forward. Akma magtaram lang o ay sir kami kung sagi ko ngira version ra house status quo division 3. Segi dal division 3 agum na sumle issue ra discussion ra gagi del bekal meeting rigid ra gagi del bibir entity. Makadagilingay agigilingay kami both house el passer tiagi del house version status quo division 3 until such time we're going to look mo say how we're going to incorporate it. Mga kapayolingit, wasem agree. Nga mo wasem agree. Ang kapayolingit, kami wasem agree tela, maloral. E ko po sa dugura, Division 3, moving forward.
Dia ka issue ko mam tial mga tmokral lang. Dahil kita tong tmokringil Division 3
Lolmol status quo.
Oy. Vice.
أقول مقدول قلبه ستيال سيل 11-10 11-10 corporate registry kami hamal dingan ay corporation siobay why say mandim na kabalo sa dai ka may ka kumna sendir ko remain ngar office ra AG masel nemu bra registrar office ra AG am nemu bra di gay gidel ngara ay gel ngara tial corporate registry ay gel profit corporation sel mo office ra kami Maigal ang NCO adir kami remain ngar office ra AG. Bisay yung das la sen agire del malmol lowro lo banggal office ra AG. Edir ka sabi mo clarification na president la sen ngaram ne mukte karingi. Lengka madangel wa setel registrar ang ari ay del bek padangel la kombali ngari profit kombali for profit ma NCO may gay del magigarel la other wa credit union. Mangke madangel wa sen ngari ay din tial ne mu bra registrar mora FIC adi registrar and moray kay gidel corporation so gidam na pasala algirel ay gidel corporation for profit so gid ako mral ase ti aigal made alang malmol maldia ka ngaral matamal ay nga mo report ra ngara July masibed lo rol lo bangel office ra AG ma officer president lo ase ti aigang morgir hindi ko mral ase ti nga igadia kalbol hindi mlakal manguputrala
Vai se di seguid el 11-24 lo liu dra registry merkamam interpretation ra I don't know ay nga ngila rogul mal meskamam aul may kasi med aul senda kala remover coming a vice la remover division 3 el status quo e da passe tiang ego bodo oriol mga tmok seguid division 3 الادريس جيد for the meantime for the interest of time
kahal di ko ger ela gigidal kan lolgo ingay ngarap problem ringyara kam ngarap problem ringi mag ela kum di kam tinyu kum di repeat o si sirtoy kom saudara karbo em la mo karuso molto dra aksel
Ako mesra ako resel to sa Division 3 tiaro gilla Division 3
ang way say chairman
ikaw ati somil tim sa taykel TV 107 maikdi ti to telekor kami uma tiar aikel pepira ko pali atiak
halin mo di mo sa baila hal kida sira gidim le address ay gidi ligar gaw le maria amendments al senate el murungi gire la house bill way say Igagid amendment problem address sa section 107 mas section 109. Why say? O agay la amendment review sira last of the meeting at tenal dim lagi mo ngay sem laringi. Magim lo makasem medro gabom yam forwarding il me magim mus amam comment. Maul magim nagtagi de babil nga December 3 li lo ngam le comment el gire lagi gid amendment review. Ediri galmle emphasize mo se agagid el amendment agagid hindi ka mameteli ka ma prefer sa ligara house version maloral. Again, our concern agagid el bibira entities el mo dagal include agagid el kang el lolmol mal status quo agagid el lolmol mal makalorior edong otmok ko sa makara address agagid el bibira entities el dimlakal address ra 11-10.
Kapang Senator Inapa.
Okay, kari ka kasi al sugu mendegin pasar tel lare lang. Le tel la essentially a creator a division 3 el mo masao da igayid el other entities el dal corporation. In the 11-24 ang ilua registration ay gayit al entities al ngul muriungela FIC. Askarnya wase al sumantakin pasartalari lang hindi ka matamal. Hindi era July, era June olbira kalulaw waral yalla el waseng other ay gayit al registration al kumbali al mut al mura attorney general remain ang ingwela attorney general a president or en moyuy de legora FIC mayagi rulik del division 3 mola al masanga FIC mang mosab will require al kombalil submit a report legora miu at the same time akom register lego mobile registry sige ta kadigal wase algum hindi kada paserter ilang we have until June mo awaser seguid el watal gibel awanail. Why say chairman?
Halirik ederse el akmisil mosadanic masing kada set aside el division 3 on a status quo basis. Nga ka omdasok na say kadam ere mang ngaisel malmol mal ngasel as it was before HIA handle registration ay gigit why say moktel gid.
Let me clarify. Interpretation or cell 11-24 of the mover obisra registrar el mera FIC, not the registration process. I want to clarify that.
I say Melal tial dosada tegi del division 3 wal include alol incorporate tegi el bebira type prasiobay en wablabol create a concern arigidra alla al klaseng alakal makatmok tial division 3 tial edring tial la en tulusa legal status ti.
No, they're not going to lose their legal status and modekas il re-register under the current format registry giblirili. No, I cannot say that they will not have a status because there's no authoritative power on my part. Kung mo ka status.
Hindi ka part trala al mulway say. Hindi ka sabi ilus sa legal status.
Hindi ka ilus sa status hindi mo ka il-register. Malakas il-register yung regulation sa gubulol tirak la.
Hindi send dito dos other status quo sige del process raw registration retir. Hindi ka sabi adapt ring temporarily kung register as a new registrar.
Sige daw magyosigik mo sa kakarte addo ulgirel sige mo sa pero status quo da addo domestic mo sa nga what's the best approach to go and move forward with that. That's why we're asking.
Se chera la di simple di amendra la di rulia incorporate the language at na say ay gagi del type pra business will maintain a status quo until such time makatmok lala incorporated tial Division 3 malubeng some other means.
So,
Hale, yalaway sir ang manextira June, July dorurungi. Or February, or March, or what?
سبيل
Sabilan dia.
سبيل كما ديال قلت سم باس كتاب move forward عندك سيد المصادقة الآن أخذ باس التل
kahali Chairman, cell section 9 or cell page 2 seryo en wasay a registrar a formula regulations algira legal other business associations el limited partnership corporations, sole proprietorship, cooperatives, credit unions, and issuance of credit securities. Makamiyo o pasay dal sabi mo legal regulations.
Why say the 11th 10 of the Misada corporations
Ito yung kung already ngala. It's already law.
sorry tila coming Senator inabot tilang
Diya, andir ka halmangup.
yeah hali
Diya. Diya, RPPL 11-24, Section 109, E. Wala siya kami ang hiri rumula regulations, algira lay kay giti. Hindi tiya gita masang aklis ila registrar rumula regulations.
Andra 11-10. Mora 11-10. Mo bra registrar and mortir. Al di mo na ikel established al entity sa nga ile al sela 11-10. Ma visit.
Section 109, B, 1E.
sige coming clarify tilang sulang ang Senator inabol bringer tila kamama milsoma mertil al included hindi house version am like cross out ring ultimately no that's
Yan.
the house version is it Sige de Senator Inabo, sige el dimlak al address 11-10 na dimlak al address ay lagi. So we wanted the house version, which is what we're talking right now, to include that language.
Inawon dia katilang arawan ona na dia kal mention ay lagi del other. Ra 11-10.
section 109 as is el milgat mo kalgirel tel tokora fisa kami mawdaw.
Coming at Chere, Hale, we're trying to address the concern ra Senator Inabo. Please give us time to kamlute Senator Inabo we're looking for that.
Tel House Bill 11-128, ang aring segi del page 2. Ang strike out der segi del E. El ngi sang a registrar of corporation akli CL. El remula regulation ra business associations, partnerships, sole proprietorships, cooperatives, credit unions, and issuance of corporate securities. Already nga ral sila la. Kung mo pa sa klisi ilmru legal regulations.
Alakum sa alala ramam.
O sulang.
Senator Nabo, thank you so much for your question. Okay, so I think maybe there's a little bit of confusion. So that language in that bill that you're looking at, that's the proposed language put forward by the president in consultation with the FIC in order to create the regulations by amendment. Because the goal for FIC was to just take the regulations and then just copy paste them until such time as a working group could be put together to ensure continuity with these institutions. It's not in the current version of Title 12 as amended by RPPL 11-24. So prior, it's all very confusing. So do you want me to give you a little bit of backstory?
No, it's going to drag the time, and we have a meeting coming up, and we have. But let's just be blunt. The reason why that's been moved is because the regulation is no needless to talk about, because this Division 3 take place of the regulation. So this will provide the guidelines for the registrar and this Division 3.
Kakalagugan ra, James.
James, Inaba want to talk to you.
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. James Kennedy. So in this bill, we're striking out language that doesn't exist in the law.
Correct. So that language was in the introduction, the first reading version of the bill, as introduced by request. Introduced in both the House and the Senate by request of the President. The primary issue is, it seems that there was confusion between the difference between regulation and registration. Registration is simple. That's what the registrar is supposed to do. They're supposed to just accept the documents, put them in the proper filing place. Regulation is unfortunately something completely different, and every business is under its own, depending on what type of business it does and who its owners are, its own regulation. So the registrar is not supposed to be a regulator, but somehow that was in the introduction version.
Okay, so it means that the registration process should remain with the Attorney General, and the FIC is only a registrar, so you're just receiving documents and filing them for these entities. Is that how it works?
Senator, inabo halik kung sa adala ramam clarify ay the concerns kami interpretation.
Just first of all, just to note, so what this 11-10, will do is it will fully replace Chapter 12. So what the current regulations are connected to for corporations, cooperatives, partnerships, and credit unions, that will be completely replaced. So there will no longer be that language, which is why FIC proposed the language in the law so that we could just transfer over those regulations. I think it's worth noting, and this is my hat as both legal counsel and as FIU director, is that there are some international requirements for registrars. They're not as arduous as regulators, but they do require some verification. So what this bill does is it allows for that verification to happen and meet our international standards. It's under the Financial Action Task Force standards and an anti-money laundering provision. And right now, the country is non-compliant with those standards. And so what the Corporation Act will do is allow it to be in compliance, more in compliance with those standards. I think for the FIC, the goal with the amendments to include the other entities is just to allow continuity purposes.
Would you recommend not to move those entities to FIC because then they'll be under the international standards and other standards that FIC is required to implement? Is it better to leave them at the Attorney General's office?
I don't think it necessarily matters where they're located. I think the issue right now is the language for these other entities is not modern. And so actually it's not great language at this point. And so that's the point of having a stopgap and a working group to address the policy matters. It can be at the AG's office, it can be at FIC. It really doesn't matter where the country has it as long as they meet those international standards.
Senator Rodimo.
Sulang Vice Chairman ma FIC. Kami mention was assume na comply la ADB. Because per ADB la say you have to conform to ADB rules. Sa akong dasing close to throw mo kasi will the right time to go there. Our Republic agilan mo madangali our requirements la ADB. Assume mo maruta regulations ma rubela rogi. So we need to know that. Mandakal faceless and nameless at orura la tira kada ko dagin toy. Kita kita conform with tamut mura financial network system. Sele to buy time seblam dulu senda kam tamal. Segregate the segregated part already to identify the okya kalabang. So you keep that status. So if you can do an assurance letter, but even the assurance FIC to protect the legal existing why you buy time. And so we can look at it and then maybe categorize, because another concern came up about the regulator versus the registrar. Now it's all in one. So can you be a regulator and a registrar at the same time? Because I think you have to protect the independence of the FIC and the FIU to objectively look at the applicants and the existing customers. Yeah, kung si Vice Chairman, kita mo start to do repeat. Issue is you have to protect regular existing institutions or alab. Mandakalu sa status or madamam threat tirabang kasi no status so they can blame FIC and torpedo regular existing entities. So I think that's what we need, just an assurance for these existing entities to exist while we work on these technical issues on the law, and then to segregate the roles and on the regulations, because I think you have a lot of leeway in the regulation side. Sulang.
Would you?
I'm sorry, just let me quickly rephrase. Just an assurance from the FIC because to counter your own letter about losing the legal status. That freaked a lot of people out. Again, we understand the roles that you have to play, but since it came from you, maybe you can kind of dampen or clarify that so they can freely exist while we work on the technicalities and to comply with the international rules.
So I just want to reiterate for the Senate's purposes that I'm just the legal counsel for FIC, so I give them legal advice, and they take the policy direction that they want to take. In terms of regulation versus registry for the FIC, and this is something that I'm happy for the board to jump in on, but it's a very compartmentalized process. So as in terms of a regulator, they follow under the Financial Institutions Act and under the Money Laundering and Proceeds of Crime Act. Oh. So FIC falls under the Money Laundering and Proceeds of Crime Act and under the Financial Institutions Act as a regulator. So they're both the prudential regulator and the money laundering, anti-money laundering regulator, along with FIU. In terms of their actions, though, as a registrar, they have to follow the Corporations Act. So whatever they're allowed to do in that act, that's what they do. And there is, under international standards, just a certain standard that the registrar has to undertake. I can tell you I know this because I was just on a mutual evaluation for NAR Nauru, and I specifically looked at the recommendation around corporations and legal persons and transparency. So I had the chance to look at Nauru's laws in comparison to what the international standards are, so I know what the baseline is for that. So they have to be a certain level, but not to the level of a regulator, if that makes sense. Right, and so I think the issue though is that if once this law is enacted, RPPL 11-10, it's not currently enacted, it replaces the trust territory version of the law, which is where the regulations that create the other entities is located. So because there's no triggering language in RPPL 11-10, the regulations for those other entities go away. Right, so that's the issue we're facing here, and so the idea is if, as a stopgap, to your point about like not freaking people out, as a stopgap, putting this in place so that they can move forward. We don't have a mutual evaluation for another 4 years. It'll be in 2028. However, we do have to send in every year follow-up reports notifying the international standards, and one of them will be on the Corporations Act at some point, and we can always push that back to another time. We have enough things that we can provide. So just something to consider as you move forward. This would be a good stopgap, and then getting a working group on it immediately would be beneficial. Yeah.
O yung malungil hindi chairman ng ako mes ng ngaringa taramal klaul atlo pong kami dire kal koraswado ng autoswel puluas ng autoswel tiyan mo ang koramal lame dia kal sebe del tiak dapsak te alam tu sesi
masaule chairman ek mama dirtirak gel baldu chairman gel arnita mama gem lokul dible tubda tal toel sel dobal imol toeng medas dia kal bol klok laut tetang rasel nal sugu mengkorang area mo ane ringa guguk murme ada do lo sigar sel mungil at terar beklat te umda se kada ganam bodang lira gire del mut mokringi dekat makli magok to si sabra o del lol vira kulave el bes au de suede guk to start el murla vira oror mal makata tiam wabla bolo libsol magda sa da pasringi se el top de kita ko gi del tantrin morsel malungir adel belao umda se lagi da hotel interest kami ko on musulate al
man musulang kirubang hindi akal ngarang au ul makata ikyo si krolele orea atal mangat mo kertiala sa ikidil korati bagi kereng al kimo bang alwa sa ikal buk pepira entities al amo o ti akal sebel mo resister man upet tulusa staru setir al sila ikal kombali ra bulur belaw maul magi mangat mo kertiang hindi so akal make note tigay ko mapan sama other board ay gigil book regulations may gel requirement ra international regulations ra ruat tora sang fatang akum daswing ngongil al sugum guk makot mokol guk tanan la al sepeed al guk ko kiungi o me saikal ngaringir belawling kada matangel wasa international regulations amring ra patokol kombalir belawa momit sa ikida dito lokorngi especially kal tokorak credit unions meng kabong chairman ko ulto partialla meng sa mamangul mo mamrail maluba kom lu usya pa piningul main albora re ko dak mula se tongali ede hal pallu sa staru sa ikal kombali e ki momes ringi ra pe esololbin
ya mam sulang chere e ko ram la umsa de mo la ay meet sel gilim sadr sel comment ram berterba ni ra December 3 imsadra section 107 ma section 109 seguida un magin tel mem de miwa el mut el mem no malisi es el position ramam como se tol mol mo ba house bill e gung de ma gange agi gongi
okay era gim la mom tangay ma era ko mal masaud tel meeting rel al sils ungil holiday le gor kamiu ya kamam ki ku ki bom kultib le ki mo meser tiang ki bom mong sum ok ngin al ku ti mo om das ul gire le ki gitul kamiu aku somiun mangat mok hindi ki olingit al wasen dire kalungin le me ba bilngiu al dire kalu ay sir gire tel meeting may gel ku ngara asa pe edel gutmok ya ko mal masulang lam ter tergaru ba rokoy ya nga ka among utiang mong sa president tra senate mong mo last klam elma asmerel tiang pol mo na kay el tilbo nga delegate travelio tiri klam ter atra house mo asmerita
Mamsaule chairman mamsaule adra FIC ginamom nagla a posisyon na kami ginamom nagla posisyon na senate gidamal ding artialo sige sel mongir abelaw magal siobay maat ma sil tetelel so akmuloy sige de kasi misel whatever adra senate akut makli esil ku klemera house ayuk murulia aurelam sulak
senate president utlay
Dia ka vice chairman ma senior o kada itong makamir komal masura.
Komal masulang chair, presidente, vice presidenta, makamir rogul senators ma mutra delegate, agili malulgitek mo se medalut makaluriore de move forward, agila yelologo delegate, agila mapokot mo other belar rogul, komal masulang. Belated Thanksgiving. Komal masaula.
o me de tolo ko mi rokoy